BirdSupplies.com. This is Diane Burrows, and today I want to talk with you about how to set up a hospital cage for your pet bird. Hospital cages are really essential to have on hand. You never know when your bird's going to get sick, injured, or have some kind of life-threatening emergency where you have to stabilize it very quickly and get it to the vet. So a hospital cage is essential to have on hand when you have pet birds. We've had to use them numerous times. One of our African gray parrots had an injury at one point where he literally had to live in a hospital cage for about a month as he recuperated from his life-threatening injuries. But I've also used a hospital cage to observe my birds when they've broken a blood feather. I want to see if the bleeding has actually stopped or if I need to seek veterinary care. I've used them, with injured toes, when my birds are just stressed out from saying move. And I use them even when we had our recent fires. I wanted to observe if my birds were breathing okay. So I've used a hospital cage quite often. And while you can use an aquarium as a hospital cage, we have access to Winnebagos, and we need to have quick evacuation, just in case we do have like a flood or a fire, which Colorado is kind of known for these days. And so our Winnebago bird carriers actually pull double duty for us. So there's several times that you might find yourself needing a bird carrier, a hospital bird cage. How do you set one up? Well, vets are going to recommend a couple of different things. The first thing they recommend is a clear, smooth-sided cage, whether it's an aquarium or a Winnebago, that allows you to observe your bird, but also the smooth-sided with some ventilation holes traps the heat. You want your bird to spend its energy recuperating, not shivering and trying to stay warm. So a clear, smooth-sided cage is essential. You want the cage to be small enough that it restricts your bird's movement. Again, you want your bird to spend its energy on recuperating, not some anxiety-ridden crawling about the cage and trying to escape or trying to look like it's not sick. The other thing you need to be able to do is have a hospital cage needs to be kept at a warm temperature between, say, 95 and 100 degrees. You can use a heating pad. The trouble with a heating pad and setting your carrier on a heating pad is, number one, it's not thermostatically controlled. And secondly, most heating pads these days have that automatic turn off where every 30 minutes you got to turn the darn thing back on. And so that gets to be a little bit of pain in the rear. There's a new product here called the Snuggle Up Bird Warmer that we really love. And this is by the same folks that make the thermal perch. And what this Snuggle Up Bird Warmer is it's a device that attaches to the wire bars of a Winnebago or any cage for that matter. And it's thermostatically controlled to heat at about 102 degrees. Has the electrical cord is wire wrapped, but still, that needs to be on the outside of the cage so that your bird doesn't fiddle around with it. But keeping your bird warm allows it to, again, spend its energy on recuperating as opposed to getting chilled. And you know how it feels when you're chilled and you're sick. It's just no fun. So your hospital cage needs to have some kind of heating source, whether it's a heating pad or a thermal perch or, this Snuggle Up cage warmer. If you're using a heating pad, for sure, you're going to need to have a thermometer because you're going to want to make sure that your bird doesn't get overheated. About the maximum temperature you're going to want it to be is 103, 104. So a heating pad, sometimes they can get pretty hot. The next thing you want for your hospital cage is easy access to food and water. The Winnebago, if you use the stainless steel door, you can easily attach the stainless steel bowls to that door and keep them real low so that your bird doesn't have to, maneuver all about the cage to get food. Or another option is to get some of these heavy-duty crocks. They're kind of small, and we just set them up on the side, and they're hard to tip over when your bird kind of steps up on it. We like to have some electrolytes on hand to put in the water, just to make sure that our birds don't dehydrate and that they get plenty of, electrolytes and vitamins and minerals when they're ill. You're going to need a towel. The towel is going to contain the heat, but on top of that, it muffles, what your bird sees, so it's not distracted and not easily startled, and it muffles the sounds and the noises that are about the house. So that's what you need with a hospital cage. You need the smooth-sided carrier that allows you to observe your bird and traps the heat. You need a source of warmth. You need some liners, which I didn't mention. We like to use paper towels or cage liners that are white that allow us to observe droppings or if there's blood or anything. We want to be able to see that real easily and take some action. Your bird needs to have very easy access to food. You don't want it to spend its energy trying to eat. You want it to make eating as easy as possible. And, you know, the towel to muffle out the sounds and to contain the warmth. So, what do you watch for if your bird is overheating in its hospital cage? The signs of an overheating bird are going to be panting, you know, breathing with its beak open like a dog does. And then a real hot bird will kind of have its feathers or its wings out away from its body to kind of get as much cool temperature as possible. And if you notice signs of overheating, of course, you're going to want to take your bird carrier off the heating pad or, you know, maybe loosen up the towel a little bit so that it's getting some more ventilation. So that's how you set up a bird carrier. We talked about when you need a bird carrier and why you need it. So hopefully you won't need one, but they're very essential to have on hand to quickly stabilize your bird should it become stressed, ill, or injured. Thanks a lot. Diane Burrows from BirdSupplies.com.